Hey guys, welcome back to Trekyards. I'm Captain Foley.
And I am Commander Kungs, and we are going to talk about some aliens this week. Famous aliens, or infamous, depending what perspective.
That's right, this week we're going to be talking about the Romulanushka. The Romulans. So, and talking about the makeup specifically. I love that they've gone back to kind of the TOS style Romulans. And they've also included some ridges. The guy that works for Picard, I forget his name offhand, but he's got some subtle ridges in there. So very TNG-like. All the Romulans we saw in TNG had those ridges. All the ones we saw in TOS, which weren't a lot, and, well, the movies, I guess, had no ridges. So they've kind of married the two, and there's a good mix of both here. So...
And that's a weird thing. Like, how do you personally feel about the ridges? Given that if you look at the visual continuity, I mean, there is a 92% to 1 ratio of continuity of time. Although obviously the era base, there's more history that shows their one look, but obviously they've got more episodes and references as another look. And obviously Enterprise, they went back to the TNG because it was the same makeup. So what are your thoughts on Ridge versus TOS, given the spread out of where they fit and how they're represented in the big show?
I don't have a lot of an issue with that with the ridges in TNG because it is 90 years later, essentially 80-90 years later, so a lot could have happened. Plus it's mainly the military we see in TNG. We do see some civilians, I guess, in
DS9
but
as well.
Yeah, that's true too.
Yeah.
But I mean, we've talked about this before. It could be genetic manipulation, some way to enhance the species, or get rid of emotions, or enhance emotions, or whatever that gives them these ridges. They incorporated some kind of DNA into their genetic code that changed them. So, from TOS to TNG, not a big issue for me. Same with the Klingons. The Klingons were well explained in Enterprise, and in side canon before that as different various things. So smooth and ridged are fine.
And just to clarify on that, even though it's a side point, some people say, why do ridges still exist if everyone's smooth-headed? Because of the virus. I don't know. It affected 9 colonies. The Empire's hundreds of planets. Like, it didn't affect Kronos. So there's like, okay, it says billions of Klingons are smooth-heads. That's not most of them, but it's enough to either breed out or whatever, Just to clarify, guys, because that was explicit, and people always think it's a virus that affects everyone, and it wasn't.
Yeah, sure. All the ones we see in TOS are smooth-headed. Well, that's because they're patrolling the Federation borders, so they put those guys there so they look more human, easier to infiltrate, things like that. Blah blah blah.
Which could be the same for Romulan, by that same logic. Yeah. To be fair,
maybe, but yeah. So I like seeing the smooth-headed Romulans. So it was always kind of a. It annoyed me a little bit that they were supposed to be a descendant of the Vulcans, yet they look so different. And that was the big thing in TOS with Balance of Terror was that they could be Spock could be a Romulan. We don't know. I think the same thing's going to happen in this case with the Romulans. They can definitely infiltrate the Federation, looking exactly like Vulcans here. So they got a nice mix of both, and that's what they needed to do with Discovery with the Klingons, which you've talked ad nauseum about. There's lots of ways to have all 3 versions.
Have your cake and eat it too, rather than throw cake in Cannon's face.
Yes. A good way to put it.
Simple analogy.
Yeah. And it's also a cost-cutting measure, really.
Ironically, yeah.
Yeah, to just give them the ears here. So
now, the idea of them being Vulcan and Romulan so similar is a great idea, but then it does logistically make it weird, though, because if they did continue to be smoothheads, would they have to reiterate every episode, these are Romulans, they're not Vulcans, because, I mean, especially for casual audience members, if they look identical. So the ridges were an easy, simple way, especially, when Spock obviously walks onto Romulus, I mean, there's a distinction there. Now, if you're having smoothheads, this lady looks Vulcan, there's nothing to say she's Romulan, which is ironic because the guy acts like a Vulcan, in his very measured approach to dialogue, and she acts more Romulan, more emotion-full, but the makeup is the other way around. So it's almost better they have ridges just because it takes that away, because there's nothing to say she is Romulan, especially if they can act more friendly, because that was always part of the Romulan. Again, we only saw the military, like you say, so there's slightly more passion, negativity. If you see a random Romulan on a farm, they're not going to be like yelling, so they might be more Vulcan-y in feel. But I got a chart though, as you might have already seen. It compares the Nemesis. So the last time we saw Romulans in a movie format, but it was in obviously in Enterprise, but they were the same makeup, the same hair, the same uniforms. That was kind of a crossover measure. And it actually amazed me when you put TOS next to the lady. I mean, seamless recreation. Like even the feel, they kind of have even a slightly similar feel. Like, you know, maybe they're of a similar age, where they have a little bit of wrinkle, kind of adds a bit of distinction to them. They feel very similar. I don't know if that's just me.
No, I totally agree. They definitely look very, very similar. You had mentioned the wrinkles, and even the color of the lipstick. I mean, it's subtle little things.
Right.
And the Romulan ears are slightly different than Vulcan as well.
Yes.
They got more of a pronounced top piece. It's kind of folded over almost.
Although weirdly, looking at the Praetor, he got very, very smooth ears. Jeez, I never noticed that before. Like his ears are they even pointed?
I think they're round, a little bit
like
pointy, roundy.
Did they forget to do his ears, Stuart? This close up?
It almost looks like it.
Whereas then you compare like to the guy to the left, and his are like strong points.
Yeah, his are on point. You might say.
Boom! Woo! Brilliant. But I like the subtlety, and I would love to see the makeup for the guy on the left. Like, what even is that? Because it's so subtle, but it makes such a difference. What actually is that? Is it just literally just a little, like 10% forehead on his forehead? Like, I don't know.
Maybe it's literally just the actor. Maybe they injected some Botox into his forehead.
Some darkening makeup, yeah. Honestly, yeah, but it still works. I mean, like I said, you know, guards have more pronounced, and that's how they should have done Klingons. Like you say, it's so easy, but you know, and it's amazing for the Klingons. They said, you know, we want to show diversity of the species, but by doing the thing they did, they showed less diversity and less species. They showed the same looking, whereas in other, like in TNG, they feel more. You know, it's just. Amazing. With this is like properly done. I give more credit for this.
And thank God for different haircuts, because they all had the same haircut in TNG. Again, variety is good. Variety makes things better. And yeah, when you have every cookie cutter character look exactly the same hairstyle, same hair. I understand the military guys from TNG looking the same because it's a military standard. However, we do see civilians, as you say, and even in Deep Space Nine. So it's just, thank God they're doing this. They're actually on the right track, and I wish they would have done it with the Klingons. This is just my opinion.
And the thing about Romulan compared to Vulcans, that they're Vulcan by genetics, but completely different in personality and tone. And so you can have Romulans with radically different appearances because they aren't all about the bowl cuts. It actually kind of feels now weird to see Praetor with a bowl cut, pretty much. Like that almost kind of feels odd now. And again, with basically no point. Actually, it's fun to see his hair dip into the
ridge.
I've never noticed that before, but it's so like, I mean, that's such a makeup artist. Like, this will be cool if we do this, and it's just funny because it's like, I don't know, it's like putting a tattoo, you know, the line where you lose your hair, like a tattoo just perfectly goes there. It's like, oh, it all lines up. It's like, right, cool. But yeah, I just wanted to point out because I mean, Stuart, we know that you prefer kind of the TOS continuation, so smooth heads, but then TNG kind of. I wouldn't say retcon, but that just was the future. But now we're both best of both worlds, and good for them for doing it.
And like I said, it bugged me a little bit in TNG initially, but then I thought, there's this good separation between TOS and TNG. A lot could have happened.
And also, I love the genetic thing, but because of the time separation, we saw TOS. TOS is still the exception there a little bit because they were isolated for a while. But also, I like the idea of them sending more TOS-looking officers, more human, to have, you know, the whole thing was I guess more Vulcan officers, but, you know, more not new. Whereas they said at one point, damn those Vulcans, you know, it became a trend. I mean, we know in Japan they have very odd trends that, like, shift quite radically stylistic. Oh my god, this is a trend now? So, yeah, what if the trend was, don't want to like Romulan, Vulcans, like, what can we do? Well, let's give ourselves these ridges. I mean, it's simple, it's effective, you don't feel it. We know that cranial reconstruction was a big thing in an Enterprise. So, and they can themselves look, they all turn to Romulans or Vulcans several times in the show, so it's not difficult to do.
And as we discussed too, which we should mention here, if they did alter their genetic code, they could have gone with Klingon DNA to bulk up their strength, to make them differentiate them even more from Vulcans, stronger, and that provided a little bit of that head ridge that was prominent in Klingons.
So what you're saying, this is now linking, so you're saying that the technology exchange, which was undone in Discovery by having cloaks, the Klingons have cloaks 100 years earlier, but not cloaks, even though they call them cloaks more than invisibility screens. Watch it. Everyone calls them cloaks as well, like the admirals, the people, the Klingons, everyone. But why, what if the Romulans said, can we have some genetic material? We want access to full biological spectrum of a Klingon physiology. And they were like, oh, we want them cloaks though. Like, seriously. I mean, that's a perfect time. That could be the differentiation point. Although, obviously, then Enterprise messes that because they would look like that early. Maybe they lost that, though, in the 100 years. Maybe they fashion, they swap back into it.
Oh, that's right. We forgot about the ones in Enterprise that also had the ridges. Oh.
And that's why it really just makes TOS the ones that we saw, because they were very clever, and I pointed this out at the time that you didn't notice, that in the episode where she appears, Enterprise Instant, yeah, that's what it's called, that there's only like 3 people in that episode that are Romulans, and the guards keep getting killed and moved. It's the same guards, and they're all wearing like full helmets, stop them from seeing anything. So she, and I think her second, the only people we see, actually, I think there's a third guy in makeup. But if that's it, plus Balance Terror, that's like 7 Romulans, plus the guy, the ambassador. But again, he could be not old. We see maybe 12 Romulans in TOS that aren't ridged. And that's not a big sample size, especially considering the missions.
True.
So, I mean... But basically, good job, Picard. It's always what we're saying. Good job, Picard.
So, do you prefer the ridge-headed Romulans, there you go, or the smooth-headed Romulans? Let us know in the comments down below. Do you think that their ridges were a part of some genetic adaptations or manipulations? Also, let us know down below. We love reading your comments, and it really helps build discussion and speculation, and we love that kind of thing. So, and also make sure you hit that like button, and subscribe to the channel, and click the notification icon so you get notified when we upload.
And of course, please do support us on Patreon if you can. We rely on that money each and every month to do everything. Honestly, everything. So please, if you can, or a one-time donation at Trekyards.com, or join our lives, which is a direct way of talking to us and the community, which we love our community. And you can put in a $5 super chat, and you kind of feel like you're engaged more, and we get some money, and you get to make more content. It's a win-win there. So join in if you'd like to, and we'll see you then.
That's right. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.